finger knead around the elbow joint. And then with the elbow on the couch, alternate effleurage to the flexors and the extensors of the forearm. Support under the wrist, and then in between the radius and the ulna you have a membrane called the interosseous membrane. We're just going to do some finger or thumb frictions into that membrane. First done with the thumbs, though they can also be done with the fingers. The membrane can get very tight. The client uses their flexors and extensors a lot, such as doing a little work on a keyboard. Thumb knead to the anterior of the wrist. And then a scissor movement with the thumbs both to the anterior and posterior of the wrist. And just link your fingers in with the clients, just supporting with the other hand under the wrist. Flex and extend the wrist joint, just taking it as comfortably as it will go for that client, and then gently rotate clockwise and anti-clockwise, and then just supporting under each digit. Just going to massage with the thumb down towards the matrix of the nail, and then just give a little pull to the digit, always from the bottom. Thumb kneading to the metacarpal spaces, the palm of the hand. And then turning hand over to use the thumbs to massage the thenar and hypothenar muscles. The muscle associated with the thumb and the little finger. So you're working right into the fleshy part of the palm. Using the heel of the hand just to work to the palm. Turning the hand back over, finishing with some superficial alternate effleurage. And concluding with just sandwiching the hand between your hands and slowly releasing. So commencing the other hand and arm by applying the oil in sweeping strokes from the shoulder down to the fingers, and then just pulling the arm slightly away from the body. Going to go at one side of the arm, back down again, and then up the cap of the shoulder and down. So you're going medially and laterally with alternate hands. So all the time one hand is always supporting the wrist. And up to the deltoid, deep stroke, the posterior fibres, and then knead with the fingers. Deep stroke and knead. And then across the anterior and the middle fibres, deep stroke and knead. And single-handed palm kneading. Mainly on the biceps. Changing your supporting hand to knead mainly to the area relating to the triceps on the posterior. And then finger kneading around the elbow joint. And then with the elbow resting on the couch, deep effleurage to the flexors and the extensors alternately. And then in between the radius and the ulna, the interosseous membrane, we're going to use thumb frictions or finger frictions. They can be performed with the fingers if you prefer. So small concentrated movements. Thumb knead to the anterior of the wrist. Scissor. Anterior and posterior of the wrist. Support under the wrist. Link your fingers in with the clients. Flex and extend the joint as comfortably as it will go. And then rotate clockwise and anti-clockwise. And then supporting underneath each digit, massage with the thumb down towards the matrix of the nail, and then just giving a gentle traction in the bottom. Some knead to the metacarpal spaces. turn the hand over, and then working thumb kneading into the thenar and hypothenar muscles, the fleshy part of the palm, and then working the heel of your hand into the client's palm. Turn the arm over and conclude with superficial effleurage. Finishing by sandwiching the hand. Commencing the abdominal massage by applying superficial strokes from the lower border of the rib in towards the pubis to apply the oil. And then deep effleurage starting pubis, going across the iliac crests, round towards the back as far as you can go, and then lift your hands back up to the starting position. So there should be a nice lift and a pull to the back. And double-handed lifting. So you're lifting across the abdomen from sides to the centre. And then we're going to do some circular stroking to the colon. So we're starting at the ascending colon, going across the transverse and down towards the descending. So using reinforced fingers, leading up the ascending, across the transverse, remembering that the colon is really like a coiled up muscle. Often gets very tense when people are stressed, so it's an important area to massage. And then down towards the sigmoid colon and down the descending colon, and then just stroking across the bottom there, just above the pubis, because you don't want to press firmly on the client's bladder. So just sweeping across. So we're going in a clockwise direction as with the peristaltic flow, and then just using some circular strokes just to assist the peristaltic flow. And then just kneading and wringing across the entire abdomen. And particularly for clients who do suffer with stress, just underneath the rib cage, just using reinforced fingers to massage in a clockwise direction to the solar plexus. And then if you hold your thumbs just at the xiphoid process, just at the bottom of the rib cage, ask your client to take a deep breath in through their nose, and as they breathe out, draw your thumbs down the lower borders of the ribs. Just encourage your client again to take a nice deep breath in, and then as they breathe out, draw your thumbs down. And then back to cross the iliac crest, round to the back, and pulling back, gradually becoming more superficial. Holding your hands there lightly before covering the area. So commencing the neck and chest massage by just applying the oil, making sure that there's plenty of oil around the cap of the shoulder and round to the back of the trapezius and the back of the neck. Starting off across the pectorals, effleurage round the deltoid, round to the upper fibres of the trapezius, and then sweeping up to the base of the skull, the occipitalis, and then drawing your fingers up and then lightly down the front of the neck to the starting position. So across the pectorals, round the deltoid, firmly across the trapezius, sweeping up to the base of the skull, lifting up, and then lightly down the sides of the neck, back down to the starting position. Gradually increasing your pressure so that you get a really nice lift at the base of the skull. And using one hand at the side of the neck, just turn the client's head to one side so that it just gently rests into your forearm. And we're going to work down the sternomastoid muscle and round the cap of the shoulder. So starting just at the back of the ear, so that you're on the lateral aspect of the sternomastoid, not close to the respiratory structures. So you're going to work down, finger kneed, down. You'll then come to the clavicle. So you need to come below the clavicle and then come round the cap of the shoulder, still finger kneading, round to the back of the deltoid. And when you reach the back of the deltoid, use your whole palm, your whole hand to do then a nice big sweep up to where we started. And then we're going to repeat that. So finger kneading down, sternomastoid muscle, down to where you hit the clavicle, just go beneath the clavicle, round the cap of the deltoid, kneading round to the back of the deltoid, and then firmly stroke up to the mastoid process. to repeat that on the other side. So starting from behind the ear, going down, come beneath the clavicle, down to the back of the deltoid, and use a firm stroke to then sweep back up again. And then just centralising the head, I'm just going to knead with the fingers just at the base of the skull, so you're working from the mastoid process just behind the ears in towards the centre, so that your fingers meet the occipital area. And then we're going to give the muscles at the back of the neck just a gentle traction. So if you just get your hands and link them at the base of the skull, just have your thumbs just pointing upwards, and then just give the neck just a gentle pull back. So there's a gentle traction which helps to release the tension back of the neck. And then we're going to come down to friction across the pectorals and around the cap of the shoulder. Down to the trapezius. And the trapezius is where you can really concentrate those friction movements on areas of tension. And then sweep back to the starting position. And then knuckling, so with that middle phalanx, separate your fingers slightly, and you can use circular motion across the pectorals, around the cap of the shoulder, and the deltoid, and then in towards the trapezius. If you just change the position of your hands across the trapezius, you can work quite deeply into the upper fibres. And sweep back to conclude some effleurage movements across the pectorals, around the deltoid, and up towards the occipital. Gradually becoming more superficial, indicating that this part is coming to a close. And then if you just hold one hand at the base of the neck and one hand just over the forehead, before slowly releasing your hands. So we're Going to conclude our full body massage routine on the face and the head. So we're going to use some superficial strokes lightly across the face and up onto the forehead. Make sure you choose a light oil for the face. It can be done with very little oil. Just superficial strokes coming up the jaw and across the cheeks and up onto the forehead. And we're going to concentrate on finger kneading to the muscles that tend to hold most tension, and they are usually the jaw muscles in the face. So concentrating on muscles such as the masseter muscle and the buccinator muscle in the cheek. And then massaging temples, with the fingers, and then circling around the eyes. And then just gently pressing below the brow, pump and release movement. So it's like a pressure point movement just below the brow, pressing in and releasing. Thumb sliding using the thenar or the thumb muscle across the forehead. Holding your hands over the face and then just using your fingers and your palms to just stretch gently across the face. Into the head, just to lightly shampoo the hair. Just using the tips of your fingers to massage in a circular motion. Turn the head to one side, massage around the back of the head. And across to the other side. Hold your hands at the occipital and just press in either side of the central point at the occipital, an inch either side of that. Just press in there with your middle fingers and just stretch back towards you. Release. So you're at the base of the skull, either side of the central point. Stretch back. And then just stroke the forehead. And to gently start to awaken your client, so you're usually quite deeply relaxed at this stage. I'm just going to use just a tapping movement over the face, just a light potent movement to gently bring your client back round. Let's do some superficial stroking. And just holding your hands either side of the head to finish before slowly releasing.